Hey, it's the Nerdy Sports Fan. We're giving out draft grades. We're into the NFC South. We've already knocked out the Falcons, so let's get into these Saints. All right, so not a heck of a lot to talk about. Okay, the Saints have the fewest picks in the draft. Didn't really matter so much because this roster is really well built. So it's not like a lot of these guys were going to make the team or make the starting lineup anyway. So it's really just fine tuning, picking a guy that does a very specific thing to try and get you over the top. You're now at this point with Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis, you're looking for very specific traits to attack specific teams. Okay, you're saying, hey, who's been our problem in the playoffs? And what do they do? And what can I do to effectively attack them and get myself over the hump? I want a guy who can do that. And that is a luxury. So Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis have done a fantastic job to this point, and they're reaping the benefits of it by not necessarily having a hell of a lot to do this offseason. So here they have their first overall pick was Cesar Ruiz. Now, this is far and away the best interior offensive lineman in the draft. The center out of Michigan can play center or guard, whereas the interior offensive line isn't necessarily an immediate need. Either he can help you push somebody out the door to save some cap space and get younger and stronger in that middle of that offensive line, or he's going to end up creating depth because offensive linemen are always going to get injured at some point in the season and even the postseason. And having an extra body up front that you know can just fling other human beings around is going to be very helpful for opening running lanes and keeping Drew Brees clean. Keeping pressure off of him from up the middle is the most important thing at this stage of his career. And so I do really like Cesar Ruiz. It's just a meh kind of selection. Okay, it's not necessarily going to be a huge effect at any position necessarily immediately. So it's a okay kind of thing. So Zack Baun was one of my absolute favorite players in this draft. He's in the TJ Watt mold. He came from TJ Watt's school, and they didn't really have any sort of drop off at that position because Zack Baun is fantastic at it. All right, he's an edge rusher. He's ideally a 3-4 defense outside linebacker. He's not necessarily the largest human being, but he's great in coverage. He is a fantastic tackler. He just sticks guys into the frickin' turf, and he can wreak havoc as a pass rusher. I've seen him bull rush people that are almost 100 pounds heavier than him. So there's a lot there with Zack Baun, and any defensive coordinator worth his salt will find ways to turn him into an absolute weapon. And I'm counting on that from this Saints coaching staff. So Adam Troutman at tight end at 105. A lot of people thought he was one of, if not the best tight end prospect in this draft, and you ended up getting him after other tight ends, significantly after other tight ends. So I think that's huge value. And the tight end position has been one that Drew Brees has been able to very effectively use over the years. So not only is it huge value at the position you got him at, but it's huge value toward your team positionally. I think that he's going to be an immediate upgrade to the tight end room, and Drew Brees, if anybody, is going to be able to effectively use him on the field this year. So you have skill position and defensive positional value in this draft that's going to be an immediate impact this year, especially as these rookies learn things Tight end is a position that takes a while to acclimate to the NFL, but by the end of the season, because you know you're going to be in the playoffs, he's going to know enough to be able to do some damage for the team, a lot more than he would have been able to at the beginning of the year. You wrap things up with Tommy Stevens. I mean, why not? Another quarterback. You know, you just needed another body. They like to carry three. They lost Bridgewater. They need somebody. Okay? So you give Taysom Hill his contract extension. You draft a guy to be the third body in the room. And, well, you actually ended up signing Jameis Winston, too. So you got 4 quarterbacks. Tommy Stevens is probably just a camp body, so it's not really something worth spending too much time on. Not a lot to work with, but I really like what New Orleans was able to do. So I'm giving them an A. Now, obviously, not a heck of a lot to talk about here, so hit me up in the comments if you do really, really love or really hate this draft from them. I would love to talk to you about it. So like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Hit up my other videos to see what I think about the rest of the league's workings in the draft. And check out my Patreon coming up in the fantasy football season. I absolutely dominate fantasy football leagues that I enter, and I can help you do that as well. So if you're into that aspect of football as well, hit me up. Thanks for watching, guys.